I mean, you know what you're going to get out of a Bane, right? Anytime you pick it up, and now, well, I suppose technically speaking, that really doesn't take away from the potential flexibility of Wildcard. The Snap and the Pango can still sort of shift or swap their positions between each other, so they do maintain a little bit of that. Osmium, meanwhile, going to dip in for the DK here, getting themselves some lockdown, and I think maybe more importantly with this lineup, a little bit more durability to work with.
Yeah, and hey, if you're Wildcard, that's your third tool in the shed, right? You've got three incredibly strong ultimates. Of course, that does weaken you up maybe a little bit because both Bane and Snapfire are going to be EXP hungry around that 10-minute mark. You're going to have them fighting over the tome. You're going to hope that your early game is easy enough that you do just get to walk towards your abilities. Meanwhile, if you're Osmium, you are probably going to lean more into that constant fight, constant, we're going to be up in your face. Would love to see if they perhaps picked the Mirana right now, just to have some kind of setup. But no, they go for the other option, the more damage-oriented option. Of course, silence to break up these fights, and whoever gets DK stunned is going to get Mystic Flared, and that's certainly a nice here to top off their draft.
Of course, you do have to be a little bit careful with the Skywrath Mage just because of how fragile he is, but I think if you're Osmium, you're willing to take that risk for, as you mentioned, that sort of trade-off of firepower. Meanwhile, Wildcard are going to get the TA, so we've got ourselves back-to-back TA games. Parker on it that previous time around was not impressive in terms of the impact on the game, but how quickly he was able to maybe start finding some of that farm for himself is something that Wildcard will look to maybe, maybe press more as an advantage for themselves. So high damage, strong farmer. Just got to make sure you don't fall behind, and should have something relatively steady to rely on.
And hey, I mean, Pango plus TA, we saw it in that game as well. You do roach so quickly, it's always a threat. It's something that Osmium will need to contend with. I could certainly see a team fight breaking out where the tomb gets committed, you see Wildcard disengage or even commit on it. It's another big reason why the Snapfire is great in this draft, is just having the hits to actually take down that so early. At the same time, I think before you were splitting the map between a Coddle and a TA. The TA was feeling a little bit more pressed for that net worth advantage. In this game, you do have a Pango, right? And assuming it's going to be a Pango going to the mid lane, as Osmium is, you certainly have a very greedy mid laner to play up with. But I feel like Pango can get into those hairier situations. You're not as afraid of dying as you are in the Kato, so we'll probably see the Pango farm much further away from the TA. So I can certainly see Yamsun taking a lot more farm this game and feeling like he's getting his item timings a little bit faster.
In the meantime, Osmium, with their final phase of bans, they're focusing on the offlane position, removing both the LC and the Beastmaster. So they're not entirely convinced that one of the Snap or the Pangolier would take that position 3 role, which, well, I mean, fair enough, right? I mean, the Pango or the Snapfire could both be swung into a different position here, but Osmium, with those bans, seem almost sort of dead set on it.
Yeah, and I mean, as we usually see, it's always worthwhile to ban up that offlane pool because there are so few heroes you feel great about. But Jug, that's different. That is an interesting matchup and not the kind of auto win that you usually think of when it comes to playing versus this TA. There's no illusions, there's no very natural Scotty buildup. This is a very different solution, but this is actually a strat I want to go back 2-3 years that for Zoomers would actually run, where they would get the Juggernaut, they get the healing ward with the DK, and then they just try to barrel down all of your tier ones very early on into the game. And I feel like that's exactly what Team Osmium are looking to do with this pick.
Hmm. Yeah, right. Set the tempo a little bit, start establishing that map control early. I can sort of see that panning out for them. And to be honest, the Jug, he still does damage, right? He has sort of maybe fallen off compared to some of those late game Juggernaut, wrong word to use, late game sort of popular heroes. But he can still do quite a bit here, especially in the hands of Kataro. He very rarely just gets shut out of his farm completely. So I feel like the Jug could still be big for Osmium, especially if, as you said, they try to sort of play that style where they get aggressive across the map early. The question for Wildcard is, what do you do to try and counter this out? And that's not a bad choice. They'll take the Razor, and who's going to play it? Okay, it will be Eves on the position 1 Razor.
Yeah, and then they send the TA mid. They swap it up because, of course, they have last pick. Easy. I mean, I feel like Wildcard are very happy with their draft. They get their kind of auto win lane. As Sebas has got to be very careful here. We might even see them try and move things around. I really feel like, I don't know, they kind of got everything they wanted. And I think more importantly, Draken is going to be under an incredible amount of pressure here. Now, DK versus Razor, you think it's going to be a very bad lane for the DK, but you are able to kind of Dragon's Tail run away, and if Sladen can really slow up everything, then that's ideal. The worst case scenario is if you get slept, you get linked up, your Sladen is a little bit too far away, and you know that Sladen likes rotating. He's a very selfless kind of player here, even though he always gets incredibly farmed somehow. He does like to make those mid rotations, and he certainly will need to secure those water runes for Sebas. That's where Draken is really going to start to struggle here. I almost wish that they try and swap up their lanes, but if they do, then your Jug can't exactly lane versus the Razor either. So I think this is really just quite a nice slam pick for Wildcard.
Yeah, it's just a hero that is going to give you problems on the Osmium side no matter who you sort of match up against it. So you just have to pick who will hold their own the best. And as you pointed out, the Dragon Knight is going to be able to do fine, okay. I don't know if he really just sort of takes that lane and will feel fantastic about it, but you don't need to feel fantastic about your lanes with DK. You just kind of need him to survive in that position 3.
Yeah, it's the stun and run, get 3 points up in Dragon's Blood, get your level 6, think about where you want to rotate onto the map, hopefully get your Blink Dagger before 20 minutes, but you know, I've seen worse. Hard, tough to say, but it's going to be whether or not I think the Ember Spirit can really make that rotation towards his lane. And that certainly is not the easiest lane in the entire world for Yamsun, just because you do have that pressure from the Skywrath. Getting nuked down is never something you want to deal with, but that's also where, as we talked about before, the Bane just brings stability to your safe lane. Your 5 is just able to trade out so much more evenly with these 4s and 3s.
Are underway here. Game number 1 getting started. Real quick, like we'll go through the lineup at least on the Osmium side because we got players playing under different aliases. Obviously, you got Kataro here, otherwise known as Menos. One of the holdovers from that former Lava lineup that comprises a decent chunk of this Osmium lineup. Meanwhile, we have Sebas Mid, who was added to the lineup. Draken, aka Drakeel, on the off lane. And in the support positions, Sladen, another sort of carryover, and then Katyu, aka MJZ, playing the Undying. So, just a quick walkthrough, because basically every player is either a new addition or, oh god, or dead, in the case of Draken, as he gets picked off there, but new addition or playing under aliases. So, just to make sure you don't get confused with who's who there, as Wildcard pick up their first blood, and if you're Osmium, I don't know about this one. They're still hanging around, but the presence of multiple Wildcard heroes could make this a little bit tough. As Devi, he's going to push his way in. Katyu's the one who's going to absorb a lot of this damage, and he can't absorb enough of it. Really, stop that fight. So if you're Wildcard, you get in, you find 2 kills. Divine Llama's a little low on HP, but there's the salve. Sammy will help him out, and this is kind of the perfect start here. You've already applied some pressure, and now you're pushing into lanes that already kind of feel like they might favor you.
Yeah, Devi gets a little bit of a salve from his teammate as well. Alexa gets to steal both bounties bottom with a nice cookie. I mean, everything feels quite nice for Wildcard, but at the same time, I think still got to be careful, especially in this bot lane. It's one of those lanes where if Devi is ever careless with the spell usage, Kataro can just push in there with the Blade Fury and really get an advantageous trade. But at the same time, Katyu's on a little bit of borrowed time here. He really has to do a fine job of tracking down the Snapfire and stopping Alexo from doing exactly this. And Alexo will miss some of the way, but Devi, they know he has Shield Crash. Oh my goodness. He's gonna...
Ooh. Okay.
But met the wave.
Is he gonna be okay? Katyu is still kind of chasing, but this is a level 1 decay. I don't think he's gonna have enough damage, but if he can keep Devi away from the wave as long as possible, then yeah, this is still gonna work out pretty fantastically. So that's the exact... Ooh, bit of a pause there. That's the exact play you were sort of warning against if you mismanage the spell. If you use the Shield Crash there and they know that's all you have, then Kataro got the entirety of his Blade Fury off there, and it doesn't get the kill, but Devi can't really rejoin the... the lane immediately, as a bit of a false start there on the resume. 2 kills, 2 kills, 2 kills. 2 kills, 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 2 There we
You know,
go.
like three people said G on the Osmium side, and then I think they thought your opponent said G, and then everything gets a little hectic. But yeah, Cat-U is just shutting out this Pango, and honestly, even Alexo a little bit here, and that's where, unfortunately, getting the Fire Snap Cookie, it gets him the first blood, it gets him the bounty runes, but it does not get them ranged creeps, and I think that's why Devi eats so much damage, is because he's simply shield crashing for XP. He will get level 2 in, I want to say this next wave here, but this is a very free start for Kitaro, and not a lot of mana or resources really used on Cat-U either. This Undying can kind of just keep on going, where usually I feel like you're seeing them look for denies, you're looking for seeing them go for the small camp pull because they're kind of tapped, but Cat-U has much more to give.
Yeah, he's just able to sort of play the physical game right now. Doesn't have to actually spam out the spells to keep these opposing heroes back. So looking pretty good for them so far. We do see level 2 getting hit up here by Alexo and Devi Llama, so now maybe they've got a little bit more in the toolkit to try and even this out, but they still... Ooh. That's a little awkward.
Unfortunate.
A little bit of extra damage being taken there, and that could matter because Devi's regen is not in the greatest of positions. Alexo can maybe pass some over. Yeah, he'll do just that with the salve, but that was a salve that you would have loved to hold on to for a little bit longer. The cookie just sort of pushes him back into the fray, and now Devi... Oh, that swashbuckle hits, that's a nice bit of damage, but they don't connect, and now this could turn into really a rough fight for them. Devi Llama is really laying it out to get the kill onto Cat-U, but he's not going to get it. Alexo doesn't get it either. One hit. That's all they needed. They
Now
don't find it. Just going to take the quick suicide there, but I mean, if you're Cat-U, get job done. You turn that fight around. The tombstone is massive, and unfortunately, if you're Wildcard, by the time that tombstone gets thrown down, you're kind of already committed. There's no way to just bail out.
Oh no! And then in mid, Alexa tried to refill Esk's bottle, and unfortunately just channels it a little bit too fast. And then, well, Cat-U successfully fills Sebas's bottle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny stuff. Funny stuff happening in this game as Alexa actually turns around to head back mid and maybe put some more pressure on Sebas.
Okay. This would certainly help make up for that misplay if they can find this kill. And Sebas is not very durable right now. If he gets the flame guard off before the stun, then it might be kind of hard to kill him. But at this point,
Gonna steal his rune.
take it. That'll certainly help. Oh. All right, Sebas.
Dude.
Nifty moves.
Sebas. That's so sick.
Just yoinks it out from under his opponent. Of course, that rotation by Alexo did leave Devi Llama alone in the lane, but Devi Llama finally having the levels and the bracers, he's a little bit more durable here, so he was able to hold his own, but now, well, he's still low on regen. That is always going to be the concern going up against Kitaro, who can just sort of periodically throw out that healing ward and be just fine.
Yeah, it's very stable, very easy. At least the wave and... Ooh, Devi. Okay, I was going to say, he has the stick still, and Kitaro can't tank tower. One of the downsides of this Juggernaut, every time you want to get that trade onto these heroes, as, yeah, Alexa just instantly kills that. And actually, Kitaro's, I think, is just dead.
He has no Blade Fury for this. They are going to get the kill, but if Devi and Sammy can get the return, Swashbuckle, no mana, no cooldown. So Kitaro is going to try to TP. Can Devi just right-click him down? Can't even really see him. So that Jug gets away with murder. That's a play that's really going to sting. You needed to be able to punish that dive, and I suppose they do get the kill onto the tombstone, so that gets them some money, but and now up top, can they get this kill onto Eves?
Oh, no.
Alexo comes in, the cookie's going to push him away. That last bit of magic damage is not enough. Eves will live. Sladen is in a very strange spot, and Alexo, with the Scatterblast coming up, might just be able to finish him off here by himself. Or he could whiff because he didn't see where Sladen went and the Skywrath could walk away. That's an option too.
Yeah, but this is such an ugly situation. Alexo actually had a salve, and I don't know if Yamsun was aware of it, but it feels like the wrong hero to be with them, because now you are going versus DK, who's going to be almost level 5. This is so much time spent out of the lane. It really feels like, I think, with that rotation, Wildcard kind of messed up their map, and back at bottom, Devi is still getting pushed back all the way to his tower. Now that Katara is level 3, a level 3 Blade Fury is just going to burn you so much more. Along with the phase boots, there really is no way for Devi to actually push him out of the wave. Even though he has double bracer, he's certainly very tanky. He still just dies.
Okay. Katara's not able to close the gap that time around, so Devi will get away with one, but But yeah, the lanes have gotten a little overly complicated at this point, I guess is the phrase to use. But we'll see what they can do to try and salvage this. We do see some rotations. Sammy turning to the top lane. They've got the Snapfire coming along as well, but
Ooh.
Sammy is going to spot this TP. At you has arrived. They will know now. They're pinging it out. So now do you want this engagement any longer? It's going to get a little bit rough if you try to force it. Also, yeah, Sammy's kind of stuck in no man's land here. He's not able to immediately link up, so I don't know if this is a fight that they want at the moment, but they're the ones with the information, if nothing else. Is middle lane. Sebas, all right. Is he gonna... He's gonna live. The tower gets one shot on him, but then switches aggro, so he gets away with the kill onto Esk, and... Well... I mean, he's got to go back to base, but he goes back a winner as he finds the kill.
Yeah, no, that was I watched that for a good 15 seconds, just really well baited, and I don't think really Esk had an idea that that was coming or that was going to happen. But with 4 points up in Flame Guard, it hurts, and you'd think that getting melded would really force the Ember Spirit back, but no, he just pushes for it, he claims it, and it's a sad death if you're Esk.
Yeah, it's one thing to get sort of beat by the rotation, but to just lose that 1v1 is going to hurt that little bit more as... Okay. Sammy able to get the D ward on the sentry. That's going to count for something, but up in the top lane, well, that trio, they did not leave. They stuck around in the top lane. Once the Bane is gone and they can confirm it, they know they have the numbers advantage. They find the kill on Alexo, and he's got pushed back. Now they're on to Sammy. Not. Meanwhile, down to the bottom lane, there is a little bit of a chase as Kataro thought he could get onto Devi. He did hit him up with the ult, but it wasn't enough damage, so Kataro doesn't find the kill, but Devi's not in a position to punish him either, and at this point, Osmium... This kind of feels like that's the way all these plays are going. They either get the kill, or they just get to kind of walk away scot-free.
Ooh, as Devi is the one to overextend now. It's unfortunate, but I'm also looking at Draken Top. He just got level 6, but a lot of damage onto that tier 1. I think Yamson, yeah. Well, Alexo, nice. They have just enough heroes here after showing mid.
Draken should be going down. There it is. They allow the Razor to get the kill there with the Plasma Field. So, Wildcard able to hold up. Damage to the tier 1 tower, as you mentioned, was a concern, but able to hold the line. This top lane hasn't collapsed on them just yet, but now... My question is, what are we going to see from Sebas? He got that big kill mid. It was very impressive, but needs to be able to translate that into more. Needs to be a tempo setter for his team right now while Kataro builds himself up. So, see what he can pull off. This is looking a little rough for him, though. Sammy gets the Nightmare. There's no Fiend's Grip, however, but it does allow the Razor to come in. The Static Link is going to be there. The Cookie Stun's in place, but you needed more lockdown than that.
Yeah, and that's where, unfortunately, Wildcard, even though this was a first phase Ember Spirit, was not really able to pick up anything that's going to naturally keep this Ember Spirit locked down for all too long. It's really going to be a grip or bust here when it comes to taking him out or getting him chained up in that Rolling Thunder, but unfortunately, neither are free. It's always going to be a question, and if Sladen's ever in the vicinity, that play pretty much dies alongside with him.
At least Esk has this to fall back on. Gets himself into the jungle, starts taking some of those camps. He can try to stack them up for himself as well there with his own... with his own traps. So he is going to be able to supplement his farm that way, but while he's doing that, Osmium, well, not really sure what they're going to do right now. They've been rotating heroes pretty consistently, but not entirely sure if they're just going to go all in for the top play. They do have Elder Dragon form back up, so they could try and swing a kill into that tier 1 tower, but with just the 2 of them here in this top lane, that is still going to be risky.
Yeah, it's not the easiest. With the cart, though, there does need to be a little bit more of an appropriate response from Wildcard here, and I think the question that they're going to have to propose is whether or not they bring Devi, because he really is the strongest piece on the map right now, but without, again, having your level 6s on your Bane and your Snapfire, you'd love to bring a Mortimer Kiss top, and that would be the one way to kill this DK. I think with the support showing on Osmium's side as well, they know to give up on that defense, but it's where now if you're Osmium, you're quite ahead of the exchange right now. If you really want to, you could swing in other lanes right now. You could look for this mid tower, as I think Kataro might be forced to spin TP, but they're rotating in with Ember. Oh, Esk, you do not want to lose your TA.
There's going to be the concussive shot coming in for the slow, but Eves TP's in. Gonna get
Oh,
silenced
no.
up, so he can't throw the static link, but they don't
Oh,
need it. Look at
perfect.
Devi. He got in there for the rolling thunder. They get the Mortimer Kisses flying through. Both of the supports are taken down. I don't know if they're willing to dive the tower at this point now, because they used a lot of their firepower for those 2 kills. But that's a big swing their way. Could lead into the tower as well. Yves and Esker's just going to start laying hits into the tier 1 bot.
Yeah, no, it's an easy push. I think just overextension from Osmium, plain and simple. Both supports died so quickly there. But also, man, Devi is a beast. You have to be a little bit threatened by his Pango. I mean, look at him. He's even trying to steal from Sebas right now. Full confidence. But that was also Mortimer Kisses coming through. I think Alexo got the tome finally. He was actually able to sync up, and then it just simply works. Just feels like a very nice, seamless play for them to make. At the same time, this tower does fall. Get a lot of gold in everyone else's pocket, and I think there is a Bane kind of on the prowl right now, a Soul Sammy Boy with grip, but that's the thing that Wildcard need to be careful of. They don't have their ults right now. They're going to have Rolling Thunder, maybe 15, but they don't want to play into their opponent's hands too hard here, as that's a very nice smoke dodge, but Silence still lands. Oh!
Shield Crash doesn't quite get him the separation that he wanted, and Sladen comes in to clean up the Mystic Flare. So, able to find the kill, but up in the top lane, Draken... This is going to get rough. Static Link can go down basically for its full duration. They're even going to commit the Fiend's Grip here to make sure that they get that full duration, but it's still not an easy kill. The DK's going to look to TP out. They used all their lockdown, and he's free and clear in middle lane. Here's the consequences. Alexo going to get himself picked off. Kataro pops the ult for it. That TP had to be canceled, and it will, but that means Osmium are free to go after another tower, and you got to get that kill onto the DK, really. That's the long and the short of it. They can't commit those resources and not find the kill, especially if it means that their defense mid just gets completely trashed.
Yep, it's very unfortunate, and I think now if you're Wildcard, you've got Kisses back up, you'd love this Blink Dagger to be finished on Devi, then they could look for an attempt onto Sebas without it. Again, very low lockdown, so it does feel like it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep those plays going. At the same time, Nightmare on the Catio. Not bad.
Reinforcements are coming, though. They got to get this kill quick, and they will do exactly that, but now here comes the
again?
response. The slow, the silence, the Mystic Flare. It's not enough for the
It's a
kill
little
just
more.
yet. Sebas is still going. This gets a little bit risky. I don't know if he really wants to do this. Does he have a Remnant? I assume he does if he's going this far. He is just going to go in there. Does the burn get the damage? Yes, it does! Just barely able to, and then he jumps out from the cookie stun. He had that Remnant the whole time. And Sebas, that's... I don't actually know if that was the smartest play to make. He could have been caught out, but he had the confidence. Was able to outplay a trio of wildcard heroes to pick up still a pretty valuable kill onto Devi Lama.
And I think that this is the Blink Dagger coming out as well. Yeah, 14 minutes into the game, and this is the danger zone right now. If they smoke past these TA traps, if they find Esk, that would be the biggest grab they could possibly look for. Also, just so beautifully timed up with Sladen's ulti. Every single time there's been a Mystic Flare available, they've gotten a kill with it, and they love to dive in deep here. What double ward placed? You know what they're thinking. As they go into play mid, actually, the grip. Oh, no.
Okay. Make the jump onto Sebas, but they might still lose the TA. They get the stun down, the flare is there, the silence comes through, and Draken has to do it with the physical damage,
though.
but he gets it. But yeah, they're so stuck in this fight. Draken is just getting bounced around by the Rolling Thunder. They should be able to finish him off, and this is not looking like a fantastic trade, as Catyu is potentially going to get caught as well. Yves can just stay in range for the Plasma Field. I think he's got this kill, but he actually guesses in the wrong direction, so Catyu's able to walk away. But now mid, they get the Nightmare out of Kataro, and that Juggernaut's just got to back away. He's going to try and spin his way back to the tower, popping the healing ward as he goes. They want to continue the chase, but with Sladen getting back in, this is getting a little bit risky. Although, as I say that, Yves will rejoin the fight as well, so reinforcements are respawning and rejoining. I think that's going to be the end of the conflict. Esk for 2, and well, if you're Wildcard, you're very happy with that. You got 2 core kills, and yeah, it sucks that your TA dies, but you were able to extract a pretty heavy toll.
Yeah, and at the same time, that was their smoke. That was a lot of time spent, and time spent that they still need to make up if you're Osmium, because at the end of the day, Ask is still the top of the leaderboard. Ask is still the one looking for kills into his first Aegis here, and that is the constant threat where if Osmium ever die on this top side of the map, everything changes. At the same time, though, again, I think that's just very simply Mystic Flare into the DK stun. they got to be a little bit more careful, because even though they did get punished very hard before, they didn't have their Rolling Thunder. It was cooling down still. They didn't have their Kisses, so they can make that play on Osmium with full confidence, and there isn't a rebuttal. And Sebas, he's looking for more, and he's going to get more.
It's a nice play from Alexo, though, with the cookie, pushing Sammy away, and actually that's enough for them to fall back, but look at Sebas. He's doing it again.
Oh.
Last time he was able to get a kill. Can he find a pick here as well? Sammy dropping low. Devi, though, is going to try and make a move. Rolling Thunder's coming in. They got the TP from Eves as the Razor will respawn. They would love to just punish the Ember, but he's able to fall back. Draken, meanwhile, that's a bit of an interesting one. Gets the Dragon Tail stunned down, but his teammates are a little bit slow to follow him up. They are slowly getting into this fight now, though, but this is a very broken up fight. I don't really know how much further they want to chase this, but Kitaro, he's got the ult. He's just trying to get into range. Able to catch up to anybody as over in the east, Sladen's the odd man out. He gets caught on the wrong side of that fight. They'll take him down, and this could lead into round 2. Dragon Tail stun coming in, but the Mortimer Kisses are big. They're just going to start turning this damage in. Draken dropping low. Kitaro hit up by the Fiend's Grip. Can't go anywhere. He will die. And Osmium, they just overplay that one massively. They've lost 3 for 1 kill onto Pangolier, who's a core hero. He's still valuable, but just felt like they really should have cut their losses after the first or second attempt, because now Wildcard win the fight, and they're into the Roche pit.
Yeah, and it's dead. It's triple melt. It's just going to die so quickly with Esk having that Deso. They fight underneath so much of Wildcard's vision there. I really think Osmium overstepped their bounds there. They have so much place in this bottom area of the map. They should have just stuck back. And, you know, we talk about Wildcard not having their ultimates to defend a lot of the time, but the one play Osmium make without Mystic Flare goes so horribly for them. And, well, okay. Every once in a while, you know, a Bane will appear to give you a kill. But at the same time, now the next 5 minutes, at least for Esk, are completely secured. This TA is not really going to be under any threat. Not to mention, with the Blink Dagger now, your backline could shatter very easily. If the TA ever finds its way onto either Sladen or Undying, your fight's pretty much over here. Osmium need to get a much longer fight going than what they've been able to get so far.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. You say they need a longer, more drawn-out fight. That has to be a fight, though. What we saw just now was... Oh, Catyu. And he gives up extra gold there, too, with the Tombstone. That's not ideal. 200 gold into Alexo's pocket, and Esk gets a bit of a free kill there. But to that point, the fight has to be drawn out, but it needs to be the engagement. What we saw before was this weird sort of dance between the two squads. They were all very close to each other, but not actually... Ooh, not actually committing for a fight as Kitaro got caught by that Nightmare. Does Sammy have the Fiend's Grip? Not for a few more seconds, but... Well, they don't need the Fiend's Grip. They've just got the kill. Kitaro taken down. Draken tried to get on the back line, unable to find a kill. Now he's got to try and run away with the pig pole, but he's not going to be able to get far enough. Draken's dead. Now they've got Catyu caught under the tower. They use the Nightmare to lock Sladen down, so he can't provide any backup. And this fight's getting very awkward as Sebas tried to get on the back line. Again, they can't find any kills. Not one in that fight, ET. They lose 4 heroes. And at this point, Osmium, they're just digging that grave deeper and deeper here. They really just can't back off.
Yeah, and this was my main concern when they picked up the Jug. The Jug versus TA matchup, it's murky waters. It's very unclear, and what is very obvious, if you do spin, you need to be killing a hero, because Esk will hit you up with that meld. You're going to have that negative, 13 armor, and you are going to die if you just sit there getting right-clicked down by this TA. Not to mention, everything just lands again. Wildcard get all their ultimates, they all come back up, they smoke, they make the play, they place the vision. It's textbook Dota. Osmium are just not really finding their play in the meantime, and I'm looking over at item progression, and I feel like we need to see BKBs, but at the same time, they need armor, and at the same time, it just feels like there's no easy way. They just need to find more pickoffs to really get this game started, but until then, it's, as I usually say, if Wildcard can now freeze the game where they're ahead, Osmium don't have that easy play back into it, and Sammy Boy, again, with the vision, it's high ground, it's everywhere, and he might die, but so does Sladen.
Sladen's already dead. Draken's in trouble as well. Esk still has that DD rune, so he is just firing away. Easy kill for him. Now they'll turn their attention to the Tombstone. They clean that up as well, just in time for Devi to roll his way in. Connecting onto 2 with the stun, just trying to keep them locked in place. Kitaro is the target, trying to spin away, but the spin doesn't do any good against the physical damage. Kitaro is dead. They're in danger of losing everyone as Catyu will fall. Sebas trying desperately to get back into his base, but there's the blink. Devi gets the vision. Esk gets the kill. Full 5-man wipe for a Bane in exchange. Wildcard, I mean, in the driver's seat is an understatement now. They have complete control of this game. They're pushing the high ground at 21.5 minutes, and there is no response. Osmium just can't do anything. They don't even have the heroes to try.
Yeah, there really isn't much they can do, to be honest. They've just really lost all initiative in this game, and I think that's where he's going to lose his Aegis in a minute here. You know, I'm looking to see if he's able to slot it out cleanly. Yeah, unfortunately, he is able to slot it out cleanly with his BKB here. Inventory management, a little bit messy. Had one too many slots here, but disassembles for the BKB, and now he's completely fine. He's not going to be too scared without having an Aegis in this game where Osmium are quaking. They need to find that Blink Dragon Tail into pretty much everything dumped on top of the TA, and they need to hope that the rest of Wildcard are snoozing, because even then, you're kind of out of tools to win the rest of the fight. I think really the cores have just gotten way too big on Wildcard's side. I mean, already top 3 and outwards, this game is looking pretty miserable.
That's
Some
an
whiffs,
interesting
though.
choice. Yeah, they backed themselves off. There's that Mystic Flare coming in. Sammy, though, force-staffed out, so he's going to sort of peel away some of this aggression, whereas Yves just goes straight in with the static link. They're able to take Katyu down. Now they turn their attention onto Sebas. They just lock him down. Draken now is just going to get completely wiped out. Every time, I mean, the progression in terms of who gets killed in what order changes, but the end result is just the same for the last 4 fights in a row. It's just Wildcard, one by one, picking their targets and taking them down.
Yep, and this is going to be your first Rax, as Devi very annoyingly hooking the back line, because he knows there's nothing they can do, and, I mean, look at Sammy. It'd be really funny if he gets omnied from the tree line, but I think that's where he realizes his mistake, and he stops doing what he's doing, but this is free Rax, as Sladen also gets jumped on in the mid lane, but there's really no reason for them to overextend at this point. I think that's why Sammy Boy is pestering Kataro so much, because once he forces the Jug back into base, it's very clear what they need to do, and we'll see what Roche is like. Of course, an early Roche is going to heavily favor Wildcard, just because S gets to do everything and that much more yet again, but even looking over at his itemization, he's doubling down on his damage. He's going to have a crit stick soon, then everybody's going to die even easier. This D-Ward's going to come. They know to flip the map here. Wildcard are going to take top in that tier 2. I mean, there's just no hole to play in. There's no mistake that Osmium can really force Wildcard into right now.
A Wildcard for a counter smoke play. 4-man smoke while Esk will keep mid pushed in, and don't get too far away from your TA, however. That is still a pretty high percentage of the damage, and yeah, this could get a little bit ugly. Sam is going to get taken down right away. Draken will look for the TP out, but there's Devi blinking in, gets the stun, cancels the TP. Draken goes down. They're now in onto the high ground. They would love to be able to actually lock Sebas down here, but they'll go for the easier kill. Sladen's the one to fall. Sebas now, he's hopping around here, but now he's going to get disarmed. He's losing too much health, and they'll just take him down as Kataro... This is ill-advised. This is really not going to turn into anything. Yeah, okay, that's why. Yeah. Yep. It's like, the only way you just throw in there is if you were sort of giving it your last attempt, and that's exactly what it is. GG called, Wildcard. Well, dropped the ball a little bit yesterday, losing 3 of their 4, but they come back today fresh-faced and ready to go. They take it to Osmium here in Game 1.
Yeah, and that's their fight for Osmium, where they kill a hero pretty much instantly. It's a botched initiation. They missed a few of their spells in the initial jump there for Wildcard in making that DD rune, or at least trying to create the space. It was a fight on the low ground, a fight with full vision. Still couldn't win. Again, the Wildcard cores were just way too far away in terms of net worth, in terms of a lead. I mean, that was a ridiculously easy game for them. And really, I think... at least for me, comes back to this Jug pick. I think Kataro not having, I want to say, the proper hero to go into this game, at least going late versus him. I think the TB ban was really nice from Wildcard. I think that's exactly what Kataro would have wanted to take into this game, but you don't have illusions, you don't have heroes that are snowballing on the other side. You're getting kills, but you're only getting 1 kill for every Mystic Flare. It looked good for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then everything kind of just falls apart. I think, that was 3 4-man wipes, something like that. Everybody except for Kataro dying over and over again. I mean, it's just way too easy for Wildcard. They just did everything with that first Aegis.
Well, I mean, we talked about them maybe wanting to apply that pressure. Didn't think they would really be successful to this degree with their lineup, but everything falls into place for them. Very few mistakes, as you mentioned a couple of times in the game, and if you're Osmium, you lost your own agency. You got to the point in that game where this was no longer about plays you could make, it was about mistakes that your opponents would make that you could use to get back into it. And if Wildcard doesn't make those mistakes, then you just don't come back. I mean, you look at the graph towards the end there, net worth lead got up to 20K by the end of the game. It's just too deep a hole for them to dig themselves out of.
Yeah, and at the same time, don't have that much creep push, don't have that much ability to actually get out to the side lanes. I mean, I feel like this is the first game I've seen in a while where the DK doesn't even get to really feel or use the Axe Shard at all because there just wasn't enough time. There weren't enough lanes to be pushed. The lanes that were getting pushed were usually getting taken by the Ember. And then your opponents just build way more useful items at a faster rate with heroes that have way stronger team fight abilities. They just simply got out team fight fought, and they kind of lost two of their three lanes, which is kind of rough to begin with. But
Right.
that's where game two, hopefully, we see some changes.
Yeah, adjustments will now need to be made by Osmium because game one was rough for them. So we'll see what they can do. We'll see if they can get Kataro something a little bit more stable and strong to work with as well. So those adjustments presumably forthcoming as we're going to step away for a moment. But when we return, it'll be the start of the game two draft between Osmium and Wildcards. Stick around.